The bold and timeless impact of black fashion in the 1980s. The 1980s was an era of unapologetic self-expression, cultural revolution, and groundbreaking innovation in black fashion. From the streets of Harlem to the stages of hip-hop and R&B, black style in the 80s was more than just clothing. It was a movement. It was about identity, rebellion, and making a statement. This was the decade that saw the rise of hip-hop fashion, streetwear pioneers, and luxury meet street style, all heavily influenced by black designers, musicians, and everyday trendsetters. High fashion had often excluded black culture, but black innovators in the 80s redefined what style could be. Today, we dive deep into the world of 1980s black fashion. We'll explore the rise of hip-hop style, the influence of legendary figures like Dapper Dan, and the street trends that shaped the culture. Buckle up, this is a story about boldness, resilience, and undeniable influence. Dapper Dan, Harlem's high fashion king. If there's one name that stands out when discussing black fashion in the 1980s, it's Dapper Dan. Born Daniel Day, this Harlem-based designer revolutionized luxury streetwear, mixing high-end fashion with hip-hop culture in a way the world had never seen before. During the 80s, brands like Gucci, Louis Vuitton, and Fendi weren't catering to the black community. Their designs weren't made with hip-hop artists, street hustlers, or urban-style influencers in mind. That's where Dapper Dan came in. He took designer logos and fabrics and remixed them into something completely new. His custom leather jackets, oversized fur-lined coats, and monogrammed tracksuits were dripping with luxury, yet they were made for the streets. His boutique, Dapper Dan's Boutique, became the go-to spot for hip-hop legends and street icons. LL Cool J, Eric B. and Rakim, Salt-N-Pepa, Mike Tyson, and Floyd Mayweather all sported his designs. His creations weren't just clothes. They were status symbols, a way for black celebrities and hustlers to display their success in an industry that often ignored them. But success came with challenges. Luxury fashion houses didn't like seeing their logos repurposed for hip-hop culture, and they took legal action against Dapper Dan. His boutique was eventually shut down in 1992. Yet, time proved his influence was undeniable. Decades later, Gucci officially partnered with Dapper Dan, acknowledging his contributions to fashion. What was once underground became mainstream, and Dap's influence is still felt today. Hip-hop meets high fashion. The rise of streetwear. While Dapper Dan was the king of Harlem's luxury streetwear, hip-hop culture as a whole was changing fashion forever. By the mid-80s, hip-hop had exploded beyond the Bronx and Harlem, reaching mainstream audiences across the U.S. and even internationally. And with it came an entirely new aesthetic. Tracksuits and sneakers, the uniform of hip-hop. The Adidas tracksuit became a hip-hop staple, thanks to Run DMC. In 1986, their song My Adidas turned the brand into a cultural phenomenon. They didn't just wear Adidas, they made it cool. For the first time, a major sportswear brand signed a hip-hop group to an endorsement deal, proving that hip-hop fashion had real economic power. Along with tracksuits, shell-toe Adidas sneakers with fat laces were the go-to footwear. Whether you were on the mic or just repping the culture, the look was unmistakable. Gold chains and door-knocker earrings. Bigger was better. Accessories in the 80s were bold, oversized, and meant to make a statement. For men, thick gold rope chains became a symbol of wealth and status, inspired by hip-hop artists like Rakim, Slick Rick, and Big Daddy Kane. For women, door-knocker earrings, large hoop-style earrings, were a must-have, worn by stars like Salt-N-Pepa and Queen Latifah. These accessories weren't just trends. They were about self-expression and confidence. Black culture took traditional jewelry styles and made them louder, bolder, and uniquely their own. Leather jackets and custom pieces. Hip-hop stars in the 80s embraced bold, custom-made leather jackets. Michael Jackson's red Thriller jacket became one of the most iconic fashion pieces of all time. Meanwhile, rap groups like Run DMC and Public Enemy wore black leather jackets to represent power and resistance. Leather wasn't just fashion. It was armor in a world that often overlooked black culture. It symbolized toughness, resilience, and style. The street style movement. How black communities shaped fashion. Beyond the artists and designers, The everyday people in black communities were the real trendsetters of the 1980s. Fashion in the streets reflected music, movies, and cultural pride. Kangol hats, the iconic headwear. One of the most recognizable pieces of 80s black fashion was the Kangol hat. Popularized by LL Cool J, these bucket-style hats were worn tilted to the side, often paired with tracksuits or leather jackets. Colored jeans and windbreakers. Bright, neon colors dominated the late 80s. Whether it was acid-wash denim, windbreakers, or oversized sweaters, bold colors and patterns were everywhere. Hip-hop culture mixed with breakdancing, skateboarding, and graffiti to create a unique fusion of style that made the streets of New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles look like runways. Hairstyles. The bigger, the better. Fashion wasn't just about clothes. It was about the entire look. In the 80s, hair was just as bold as the outfits. The high-top fade. Thanks to Kid and Play, Bobby Brown, and Big Daddy Kane, the high-top fade was the ultimate 80s black hairstyle. Jerry curls, made famous by Michael Jackson and Ice Cube. This look was defined by its shiny, wet appearance. Braids and cornrows. Women's hairstyles were just as bold, with intricate braided styles becoming increasingly popular. Black fashion in the 80s was all about authenticity and confidence. Whether it was streetwear or high fashion, it was about making a statement. The legacy of 1980s black fashion. Fast forward to today, and it's impossible to ignore the influence of 80s black fashion. Streetwear is now a multi-billion-dollar industry, with brands like Supreme, Off-White, and Fear of God carrying on the legacy of mixing high fashion with urban style. Logomania, once pioneered by Dapper Dan, is now embraced by major brands like Gucci, Balenciaga, and Louis Vuitton. Hip-hop artists are the biggest influencers in fashion today, with rappers like A$AP Rocky, Travis Scott, and Cardi B securing deals with major luxury brands. The styles that once belonged to the streets of Harlem are now seen on the runways of Paris, Milan, and New York. Black culture has always set the trends. Fashion just caught up. Final thoughts. Black fashion in the 1980s wasn't just about clothes. It was about culture, resistance, creativity, and self-expression. It was about taking what was overlooked by the mainstream and turning it into something legendary. From Dapper Dan's high-end streetwear to Run DMC's Adidas tracksuits, the 80s laid the foundation for the way we see fashion today. It was a decade that proved that style wasn't just about brands, it was about who wore it and how they made it their own. Which 80s black fashion trend was your favorite? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget, like, subscribe, and share for more videos on black culture, history, and fashion. Thanks for watching.